Celebrity status is a dream for many, but living in the spotlight comes with constant scrutiny. One wrong move or bad decision can undo years of hard work. What happened, and why couldn't they bounce back? These are the stories of stars whose careers fell apart in an instant. Starting with James "Jimmy the Greek" Snider. Jimmy the Greek Snider was once a household name, a larger-than-life sportscaster who brought energy and bold opinions to CBS Sports. But in 1988, his career came to a sudden and disastrous end after he made deeply offensive comments during an interview. Snider claimed that black athletes were naturally superior because of their genetics, tracing it back to slavery. It was a jaw-dropping moment, one that stunned viewers and rightly sparked outrage. Snider attempted to explain himself, insisting he didn't mean to offend anyone. But the damage was done. CBS wasted no time. They fired him almost immediately and issued a public condemnation of his remarks. Rather than quietly accept the consequences, Snider fought back. He filed a lawsuit against CBS, demanding millions in damages and accusing the network of age discrimination and defamation. It was a dramatic and desperate move, but it did little to change his fortunes. The fallout was harsh, Snider's reputation never recovered, and his personal struggles deepened. Friends and colleagues noticed the toll it took on him. Lem Banker, a well-known sports bettor, told the Associated Press, "He really just went downhill after that. It was a shame. He was real bitter." Now, imagine getting the opportunity of a lifetime, opening the Academy Awards. But instead of a dream come true, it quickly turns into a nightmare. That's exactly what happened to Eileene Bowman. You see, in 1989, the Oscars decided to kick things off with an elaborate and downright bizarre 11-minute musical number. Bowman, cast as Snow White in her very first big Hollywood gig, took center stage. She glided through the audience, serenading A-list movie stars with a chipper, high-pitched rendition of "I Only Have Eyes for You," but with a strange twist to the lyrics. Things only got stranger as the scene shifted to a retro nightclub setting, where legendary entertainer Merv Griffin performed "I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts," while Bowman danced frantically. If that wasn't surreal enough, the show hit a whole new level of awkward when Griffin announced Snow White's blind date. None other than Rob Lowe. What followed was a painfully off-key duet of "Proud Mary," reimagined with lyrics rewritten to fit the Oscars theme. The whole spectacle was bizarre, chaotic, and undeniably cringeworthy. The backlash was immediate and ruthless. Critics savaged the performance. The Hollywood Reporter called it a nightmare, while the New York Times labeled it one of the most embarrassing moments in Oscar history. For Eileene Bowman, the experience was devastating. Mortified by the reaction, she left Hollywood altogether and returned to her hometown of San Diego to escape the spotlight. Though she eventually came back to Hollywood a few years later, the damage was done. Her career never fully recovered, and over the next decade, she managed to land only a handful of small roles. Next on our list is Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis wasn't just a musician, he was a force of nature, a piano-pounding showman with an untamed energy that could set any stage on fire. In the late 1950s, he was at the top of the rock and roll world, delivering electrifying hits like "Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On" and "Great Balls of Fire." Lewis had it all: the talent, the charisma, and the audience eating out of the palm of his hand. But his meteoric rise would soon come crashing down. In 1958, while touring the UK, Lewis arrived with his 13-year-old cousin, Myra Gale Brown, his new wife. The news spread like wildfire, igniting shock and disgust. Audiences couldn't look past the age gap and the scandal surrounding their marriage. What started as a triumphant tour turned into a catastrophe. Outrage erupted, and the backlash was swift. The press savaged him. Concerts were canceled. His name, once synonymous with rock and roll rebellion, became a cautionary tale. The scandal, now infamous as the Myra Gale affair, didn't just damage Lewis's reputation, it shattered his career. Once a chart-topping star, he watched his record sales plunge and his future dim. Though he clawed his way back to the spotlight at times, Lewis would never regain the same explosive success. There were glimmers of hope, like his cover of Ray Charles' What Did I Say in 1961, which gave him one final hit. But they were fleeting. Years later, he was honored with a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a nod to the undeniable mark he left on music. Yet, despite his talent and early brilliance, Jerry Lee Lewis' career never fully recovered from the scandal. But if scandal brought down Jerry Lee Lewis, ego and ambition destroyed Troy Duffy's Hollywood dream. Troy Duffy's story is one of Hollywood dreams and Hollywood nightmares. In the late 1990s, Duffy was just a bartender with a script, The Boondock Saints, a gritty tale of Irish-American vigilantes that he wrote in between shifts. Then, in a twist that could have come straight from a movie itself, Harvey Weinstein and Miramax came calling. Not only did Weinstein buy the script, but he reportedly offered to buy the very bar Duffy was slinging drinks in. It was the kind of break most aspiring filmmakers only dream of. But things unraveled fast. According to The Guardian, Duffy's behavior spiraled. He allegedly developed a reputation as a megalomaniac, a word that would follow him for years, and his unpredictable attitude began to turn people away. The breaking point? An incident involving Ewan McGregor. Duffy was set on McGregor for one of the leading roles, but during a heated argument, McGregor walked away. That moment, documentarians Tony Montana and Mark Bryan Smith claim was the final straw. Weinstein, once a champion of the project, began to lose interest. Miramax pulled the plug. Duffy was left scrambling. He secured financing elsewhere, but the new deal was far from what Miramax could have offered. Worse yet, he lost all distribution rights to the film. So when The Boondock Saints eventually became a cult classic on DVD, racking up fans and sales, Duffy didn't see a dime. A decade later, he tried to capture lightning in a bottle again with The Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day. But this time, the magic was gone. Critics panned it, and fans stayed away. The Chicago Tribune summed it up with a stinging line. Duffy's film made me sad for the Irish in general and Irish-American vigilantes in particular. Hollywood can be brutal. It'll chew you up and spit you out. But if you ask Randy Quaid, it might even be out to get you. Randy Quaid, the talented actor celebrated for his hilarious roles in classics like Vacation and Kingpin, seemed destined for a long and successful career. But in recent years, his life has spiraled into something almost too strange to believe. It started with a string of legal troubles, unpaid bills, accusations of squatting, and then Quaid and his wife made a dramatic escape to Canada. That's when things took an even stranger turn. The Quaids began claiming they were on the run from a shadowy group they called the Hollywood Starwhackers, an organization they insisted was targeting and even killing celebrities. Their bizarre accusations pointed to famous names like Heath Ledger and David Carradine, leaving the public scratching their heads. It was a wild conspiracy theory that sounded straight out of a movie. But the real-life saga didn't stop there. In 2015, the Quaids were arrested again, adding yet another surreal twist to their unfolding story. And just when it seemed it couldn't get any stranger, Randy posted a now infamous video of himself and his wife dressed in bizarre costumes, an unsettling scene that had many wondering what had become of the once beloved actor. Randy Quaid clearly hasn't been himself lately, but through all the chaos, he's still managing to act. The same can't quite be said for the next actor. How do you stay true to yourself after causing a scene with a slap heard around the world on the Oscars stage?
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? that was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Thi-
wife's name out your f***ing mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your f***ing mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
All Will Smith had to do was show up at the 2022 Oscars, accept his Best Actor award for King Richard, and celebrate a career-defining moment. But then, Chris Rock stepped onto the stage and delivered a joke that changed everything. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it, Rock said, referencing Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head. The camera cut to Jada, who rolled her eyes, visibly unimpressed. Will, at first, laughed along with the audience. Then, something shifted. Will Smith stood up, walked across the stage, and slapped Chris Rock across the face. The crowd froze. Rock, stunned and unsure of what had just happened, could only manage, "Wow, Will Smith just smacked the out of me." Smith returned to his seat and yelled, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth." Twice. The room was silent. Millions watching at home were left in shock as the line between scripted entertainment and real-life conflict seemed to disappear in an instant. Minutes later, Will Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor. On stage, he tearfully tried to explain his actions, saying, "Love will make you do crazy things." It was a speech full of emotion, but it couldn't undo what had happened. In the days that followed, Smith publicly apologized to Chris Rock on Instagram. The Academy responded by banning him from the Oscars for 10 years. The ripple effects hit his career hard. His film Emancipation was delayed, and Bad Boys 4 production was pushed back. The incident didn't just leave a mark on the Oscars, it left one on Will Smith's legacy, too. It's a reminder that just a few shocking seconds can change everything. For Jennifer Grey, though, it wasn't a slap that defined her. It was a surgery. Jennifer Grey was on the brink of superstardom in the 1980s. She had it all, the talent, the charm, and the roles to prove it. You probably remember her from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where she played the sassy sister, or Dirty Dancing, where she stole hearts as Baby, the girl who refused to be put in a corner. It felt like Jennifer Grey was unstoppable. But then, just as quickly as she rose, she seemed to vanish from the spotlight. So what happened? Jennifer Grey was known for her unique and distinctive nose. It was part of what made her so memorable. But in a decision that would change her life, she chose to undergo a nose job. What was supposed to be a small adjustment turned out to be far more drastic. The surgery left her looking unrecognizable, and as Grey herself later admitted to the Mirror, "It was the nose job from hell. I'll always be this once famous actress nobody recognizes because of a nose job." Her career hit an unexpected wall. Suddenly, the actress everyone loved didn't look like the actress they remembered. And in Hollywood, a place where looks can define a career, that change was monumental. But Jennifer Grey didn't give up. While the headlines faded and she no longer graced A-list red carpets, she quietly kept doing what she loved. Over the years, she carved out a steady path, taking on character roles in popular shows like Grey's Anatomy, The Conners, and even lending her voice to Phineas and Ferb. She also starred in Amazon's Red Oaks, a show set in the nostalgic haze of the 1970s, a fitting nod to her rise to fame. While Jennifer Grey may not be the A-list star she once seemed destined to become, she's still here, still acting, and still leaving her mark on the entertainment industry. But she's not the only one whose career took a hit, though. Hollywood's fixation on beauty claimed another victim, Lara Flynn Boyle. Lara Flynn Boyle was once a rising star, captivating audiences with her beauty and undeniable talent. She lit up the screen in iconic roles like the mysterious Donna Hayward in Twin Peaks and the ambitious Helen Gamble in The Practice. But then, something began to shift. Over time, Boyle's appearance started to change, most noticeably her lips. As her looks became more altered, her career seemed to follow suit, gradually moving from A-list roles to smaller, low-budget films and television shows. It was a dramatic fall from grace for someone who had once been Hollywood's darling. Bole herself has been candid about the impact her changing appearance has had on her career. In an interview with the Mail on Sunday, she admitted, "I know I may be running out of time. There are just not that many roles for older women. On a vanity level, I am not looking forward to aging at all. I think I look pretty good now." It's heartbreaking to think that a 32-year-old actress felt like she was running out of time in Hollywood. Next on our list are Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan of Milli Vanilli. In the 1970s, producer Frank Farian stumbled upon a formula that worked like magic: create a band that didn't actually sing. With Boney M., he proved that as long as the music was catchy and the performers looked good, fans wouldn't ask too many questions. So, in the late 80s, he decided to try it again, this time with a pair of young, charismatic dancers, Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus. They weren't singers, but that didn't matter. Farian hired session vocalists to record the tracks, and Fab and Rob became the faces of the project. Together, they were Milli Vanilli. Their debut album, Girl You Know It's True, exploded. It was an instant hit, topping charts and producing 3 #1 singles. Fans loved them, and the industry embraced them. Awards poured in, including the ultimate prize, a Grammy. But beneath the glitz and success was a secret. Fab and Rob weren't singing a word. Every note, every chorus belonged to someone else. That secret unraveled in the most humiliating way. During a live performance, the backing track malfunctioned, looping the words, "Girl, you know it's," over and over. Fab and Rob froze. The audience stared. And just like that, Milli Vanilli's perfect illusion shattered. The backlash was swift and unforgiving. Fans felt betrayed. The music industry turned its back on them. The Grammy was returned, and the duo, once at the top, tumbled to rock bottom. Desperate for redemption, Fab and Rob tried to make a comeback under their real names, Rob and Fab. In 1993, they released an album, but the world wasn't listening. It was a commercial failure. For Rob Pilatus, the fall was particularly hard. Fame had given him everything and then taken it all away. In 1998, at just 32 years old, he died of an accidental overdose. But sometimes the words you do say are far worse than the ones you fake. Actors often venture into stand-up comedy, but it's a gamble that doesn't always pay off. Michael Richards, best known as Kramer on Seinfeld, found this out the hard way. In 2006, during a stand-up show, Richards lashed out at a black audience member with a shocking barrage of racial slurs. The incident, caught on video, quickly spread online, igniting widespread outrage. The footage showed Richards repeatedly using the N-word, a disturbing outburst that left the audience stunned and viewers horrified. It was an appalling moment of racism that forever marred his legacy. In an attempt to repair the damage, Richards appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman to apologize. However, the apology fell flat, and the damage was done. His reputation was irreparably tarnished, and his career effectively ended. Though he's made a few minor appearances since the fame he once enjoyed has never returned. A career-ending outburst may seem shocking, but wait until you hear how Ingrid Bergman's love affair ruined not just her career, but changed Hollywood forever. Ingrid Bergman was more than just a Hollywood star. She was an icon, celebrated for her roles in classic films like Casablanca and Gaslight. To audiences, she embodied virtue and grace, the perfect image of a wholesome actress. But behind the scenes, Bergman's life told a very different story. While married to Peter Lindstrom, Bergman fell deeply in love with Italian director Roberto Rossellini. Their affair was more than just a secret. It was a love so powerful, it upended her world. She made the bold decision to leave her husband and child to be with Rossellini, a move that sent shockwaves across 1950s America. Back then, the idea of a woman leaving her family for love was unthinkable, and the backlash was fierce. The public turned on her, vilifying her actions as if they were a personal betrayal. Newspapers blared scandalous headlines. But it didn't stop there. Senator Edwin C. Johnson, outraged, took things to a new level. He publicly condemned Bergman, accusing her of assaulting the institution of marriage and even calling her a powerful influence for evil. He proposed a bill that would require movies to be judged on the morality of their creators, a stunning reflection of the era's moral panic. Bergman became a symbol of controversy, caught in a storm she couldn't escape. Hollywood turned its back on her. She was effectively exiled from the United States for 8 long years. Her career never fully recovered. And for the last name on our list, we have O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, once a celebrated football legend turned Hollywood actor, found himself at the center of one of the most sensational trials in American history. Acquitted of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman, the verdict sent shockwaves through the nation. Though he walked free, the court of public opinion was far less forgiving. Simpson's reputation was shattered, and his once thriving career never recovered. Over the years, he made a series of baffling decisions that only deepened the public's disapproval. In 2006, Simpson sparked outrage by releasing a book titled If I Did It, a hypothetical and unsettling confession to the murders of Nicole and Ron. The book, along with a related TV special, was so controversial that it was quickly scrapped, leaving his reputation even more battered. That same year, Simpson tried yet another comeback with a reality TV show called Juiced. In it, he played pranks on unsuspecting people, a tone-deaf and widely criticized attempt at humor given his history. The show, a pay-per-view special, was a complete disaster. It aired only once and marked yet another failed attempt to revive his career. That is it. Appreciate you watching. If you liked it, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more.